Okay, so part 2 for 3.3 notes is coming at ya. Okay, so we are taking the same shape and we want to reflect it over the x-axis and move it right 5. So if here is your x-axis, when we reflect things over the x-axis, we are going to kind of flip them down. So if you can imagine, it should go from being up here to being down there by flipping our points around. So the way we're going to be doing that is go ahead and take a look at this point here. Notice how it's one away from your x-axis going up. It has to be one away from your x-axis going down. So this point is going to get reflected down like that. Same thing with this one over here. 4, comma 1 has to get flipped down. Since it's one away from your x-axis, it's going to become 4, comma negative 1. This point up here is 2, comma 4. So this is a distance of 4 away. So now we want to flip that 4 down, and at this point up here is getting reflected over there. Likewise, this other one here, 4, comma 4, is going to get flipped down here, and it's going to become 4 down from the x-axis. So phase 1 is flipping it over. Now what we want to do is we want to move this right 5. So we're going to go ahead and take each of our points. I'm going to take this upper right one and I'm going to move it right 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where my new point is. This one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, moves it here. This point down here, right 5, would become over here. And our last one, moving it right 5, would become right here. So once again, I'm going to take my red marker so I know where my ending one is. This is where my shape is ending. And so now to write this in function notation, the reflection over the x-axis goes out in front. So this here is the reflection. The right 5 goes in the parentheses, but in order to move it right 5, I'm going to write a minus 5 because remember we always do the opposite with your left and right. Let's go ahead and try now some vertical stretching. So everything is going to be based off of your x-axis here. So your points here are going to get 3 times as tall compared to the x-axis. View the x-axis like your ground here, okay? So this point on the ground, if it gets stretched to 3 times as tall, it actually doesn't move because nothing on the ground, like it just is going to be the same height. But something up here, notice how this has a height of 4. We want to triple its height. So if we take this and we triple it, our height here should be 12. So our new thing is going to be 12 tall. So this is now going to be my new part of that triangle. Same thing with this point over here. This point here has a height of 2. We are going to triple and make it 3 times as tall, which means my new height has to be 6 from the ground up. So this point up here has a height of 6. So my new points, they're kind of hard to see. So again, I'm going to change my colors. I'm going to go with yellow for this one. My new points are this top one, 12 up, this bottom one, which didn't change, and this one here, which has a new height of 6. These are going to be my new 3 points for my triangle. Everything got vertically stretched by a factor of 3. So that vertical stretch is my A value. So that's going to go out in front. We did 3 times f of x. Whereas the next one is going to be slightly different. We want to compress it by 1/2. So just visually imagine this triangle. If I took and I squished it and I made it half as tall, it would look something like this. So my height here was 4, but I want to take half of that. And so my new height is only going to be 2. So this point, which was up here, gets shrunk down to my new point. This point over here had a height of 2, but I want to make it half as tall. So my new point is now going to be shrunk down to have a point or a height of 1. So my new points here are going to be these 3 points, and it would look like this. But now I want to take this and I want to move it left 3. So I'm going to go ahead and take each of these points and I'm going to go left 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So my new shape is this purple one right here. This is my new triangle shrunk to a height of 1/2 and moved left 3. So in function notation, the compression is my A value. So there's a 1/2 out in front. This is the compression of 1/2. And to move it left, that's going to be inside here, but it's going to be the opposite because it's inside. Left and right is always the opposite. So it's going to be +3 inside to move it left 3. Now let's try the next two, or the next couple here. We're now going to be working backwards. So anything inside is moving it left and right, but we do the opposite. So this is moving our picture right 2. The stuff at the end, the plus, is the up and down. So this is of the up 3. So you're going to take one of the points. You can kind of create a point on your graph. You're going to move that point right 2 and then up 3. That's your new point. You can take another point, move it right 2, up 3. That's your new point. Next point, right 2, up 3. And your last one, right 2, up 3. And you can connect all of those. This is your new graph. Let's look at the next one. We are still going to be moving right 6 because it's inside, so we do the opposite. The -2 is going to move our graph down 2. So we're going to take each point and we're going to move it right 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and down 2. We use different colors here to show it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down 2. This one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down 2. And then our last one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down 2. So my new shape would be right here. Same shape, just moved right 6, down 2. So let's take a look at number 9. We are going to have this negative out in front. That is going to flip it over, aka reflect over the x-axis. And then this +4 here is going to move my graph left 4. Anything inside is left and right. So let's do the reflect over the x-axis. So you can imagine this square getting flipped over. Now, since it's reflecting over the x-axis, anything on the x-axis doesn't move because when you flip it over, it's still on the x-axis. So this up 4 to get to this point would be flipped over down 4 down here. Same thing that this one. This up 4 would be flipped over, and this point here would be reflected over here. So my first part is flipping it over. Now I'm going to take each of these points and move them left 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Next point, this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, interesting. It ends on my graph there. How about this one? 1, 2, 3, 4. And our last one, I think I'm out of colors. Let's use green. Moves 1, 2, 3, 4. So my new shape is connecting these colors here. It's flipped over and moved left 4. Our last one here is this 2 out in front. This is your A value. That means it's going to be a vertical stretch of 2. We know it's a stretch because that number is telling us it's getting twice as tall. So everything here on my x-axis remains on my x-axis. This point up here was at 4. It's going to double its height to be up at 8. Same thing with this one here. We're doubling our height to get up at 8. And so my new shape here, I'm going to do this one in green so we can see it. is this rectangle now. The square got stretched out twice as tall to make it into that rectangle. So thank you very much for listening. I hope this helped. We are going to be reviewing this again tomorrow because I know there's lots of new information here.